Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here or if you're a returning subscriber, you are very welcome. Today we're going to do something slightly different. I want to talk about firstly all of the new subscribers who've joined, so thank you very much if you subscribed, and if you haven't, please do. And I also want to thank all of you who have taken the time to comment on the videos, ask questions, share your thoughts. Some of you have shared your experiences, which are amazing, and some of you have really entered into the spirit of a conversation and being generous with tips, advice, your perspectives, all of which I fully appreciate. So I thought, leaning into all of that today, we would do a Q&A, gathering together all of your questions, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to answer your questions in today's Q&A. So let's start with the first question. Let me grab my phone. So the first question is from KHammy5, and KHammy5 wants to know whether I'm still seeing my consultant. The answer to that is no. I was seeing my consultant for 4 years in total, and I last saw my consultant at the end of last year. So I'm no longer seeing her. I am self-maintaining. The next question is from Seriously B2F. And the question is, how will you maintain your locks if not interlocking? So we've got a full playlist which goes into more details, but what I am doing is I'm combining my locks and I'm combining them at the roots. So please check out the full playlist. I've gone into details, including methods, and in that I show you exactly how I do it and the different methods and experiments that I'm trying out at the moment. So the method I'm using is combining at the roots. So thanks for that. The next question is from CSS Shines 7359, and she wants to know, she's curious about why I didn't decide to use the plaiting methods and plaiting a single lock. So I actually did try that, and I have a test lock, which we'll try and put some pictures in so that you can see those up close. But I did actually try that as one of my experimental methods, and I decided not to go with that because of the variables. For example, that test lock worked as a single lock, but ultimately if the tension isn't quite right, then I could end up with holes in some of the locks, or if it's too tight, then it's too densely packed. I was also a bit worried about the weight of a single plaited together lock comprised of 3 or more sister locks. And the other thing that I was slightly worried about was whether that single plaited lock would unravel. So for all of those reasons, I decided not to do the plaited method. So the next question is from SheBeMax2569, and she wants to know, going back to the methods again, when retightening the new growth, can't you avoid tension on each individual lock by not going too close to the scalp, by leaving a little slack, in other words, 1 or 2 fewer rotations? So yes, that could have been an option, but I decided, due to the pain that I was experiencing on retightnings, to not continue with the interlocking method, because not only is it about how close you go to the scalp when you do all of the rotations, the thing for me, which I think was leading to my pain, was that each time the lock is pulled through on each rotation, that lock, which is a compressed hard lock, is scraping against the scalp. And I think that that's why I had pain after my retightenings and during my retightenings. So I decided that I didn't want to continue with the interlocking method. So I hope that explains that clearly. So the next question is also from SheBeMax, and she wants to know whether the thinning at the crown is due to the retightenings being too tight or natural thinning. The honest answer is I can't know for sure unless I were to have done a controlled experiment. But what I do know is that over time the hair can thin. We have hormonal changes that take place in our bodies, and also the effort of retightening. It's tight, it's rubbing against the scalp, and as we age, our hair thins. So I think that it's a number of reasons, not just one. And so with this new combining journey, I am working towards eliminating all of those possibilities and seeing what works. So as I've said before, it's an experiment. I don't know whether it's all or a combination of all of those issues, but I think we're going to find out in the coming months. So I hope that answers that. So the next question comes from Nina F6827, and she wants to know how many locks I have. So I started out at the very beginning with 389 locks. When I did this first combining a few months ago, I had 229, and as of today, I've got 151. So the combined locks, I've got 2s, I've got 3s, I've got 4s, 5s, and I think there's a couple of 6s. So the total number of locks I have now is 151. The next question comes from Healthy Hair Journey, and she wants to know whether I've considered knotting my locks. Yes, I have considered it. I looked into the method, but I've decided that I don't want to sign up to another method. I'm not fully convinced that knotted locks are for me. I've looked into them, watched some videos, etc. And I actually, long time ago, before I started on my Sisterlocks journey, had traditional locks, and I used to leave all of the central area untwisted and let it sort of do its thing. So I've got that information that I'm using this time around, and I've decided not to go with any other systems, which includes knotted locks. So it's a no on that front. And the final question today comes from Precious MD Dawn I. And she wants to know, what is my hair density? And I've got to be honest here, I have no idea whatsoever. I actually had to look this up, and hair density is the number of strands per square inch on the scalp. Now, I don't know, I think I'd have to go to analyse that. I know that this part of my hair here is very dense, but I don't know what my density is. So I don't know, I might throw it back out there. If anybody's ever had their density measured, or if you know how to get it done, let us know in the comments. But in answer to that, I don't know. I think it's denser in some areas and not so much in others, like hairline, definitely not so dense. So those are all the questions. Hope you found them useful. Thank you for tuning in today. Please do like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hype as well. And look forward to seeing you in the next video. Till then, bye.